meeting to order. This is the August 4th, 2025 Woodstock Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency regular meeting. We're starting at 7:03 p.m. And as of tonight, we have Leanne LaChapelle doing the minutes for us. And we welcome Leanne and thank you very much for taking on that task. So at this point, we'll have a roll call.
Marla Butts.
Start with Bill Rowinski,
Stuart Peasley.
Kathy, you're turned off.
Kathleen Barrett.
Kathy, you're muted.
She's okay. She's not muted now.
I think I'm okay.
Mhm.
Although the way things are going, I'm not sure. Anyway,
I can hear her.
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and all right, and Mark Parker isn't with us yet. Appointment of alternates. We don't have any alternates that we need to appoint, and we don't have any alternates. At this point, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda that was officially posted last Thursday.
Marla Butts speaking. I move to amend the agenda under item 6, pending applications, as a new item B, application 06-25-33, 0 Route 198, map 5709, block 2, lot 6, by Roy DeRochers for proposed driveway crossing.
I would second Stuart Peasley.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, the motion carries.
And
Now,
Mr.
there
Chair,
is another.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay, yeah, no, I was just going to suggest
a-
that perhaps you'd like to amend the agenda to add a new application, item 7B, application number 07-25-04 for Little Horn Lane for Bob and Marilyn Rath, stabilizing the wall and adding, improving access to water.
yep, I was just about to do that, but thank you anyways. Could we have a motion to add that as 7B in the new applications?
So
It was
moved.
posted, okay,
So moved.
We
Marla
have a
Butts
sec-
speaking.
we have a second.
Second, Stuart Peasley.
Okay, we have a motion by Marla Butts, second by Stuart Peasley to add an item on the new applications as 7B, application 05-25-04 for Little Horn Lane, map 7272, block 34, lot OC 19, Maryland and Bob Rath, stabilizing wall and adding improving grade access to water. So did we already have a motion on that, or? Oh, we
I
need a
moved it.
motion on that.
Stu seconded it.
Okay,
Just need to vote.
okay. All right, so I was just reciting it. Sorry, I lost my track of my place.
Oh, if I didn't
All
say
those
it,
in
then I
favor?
so moved. If I didn't.
Yeah, no, I believe you did. I just, like I said, I lost track of where I was going. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? So the motion carries.
Bill,
Okay, at this point, well, yes,
did you say
Go
that
ahead.
we have, when Marla asked before, did you say we have all the documentation for that? Or is that the one that you have all the? I
we
think,
have documentation for both of the additions.
okay,
Perhaps it might be helpful for her to know that it's posted on the web.
yep, just haven't gotten there.
Okay, moving along, well, action on the minutes of the previous meeting of July 7th, 2025. So one question on the first page, just following up. John, do you have a copy or certification on file?
of, I'm sorry, which number?
That is number 5.
Uh, I do not have it. All right, I'm sorry, I did not provide it yet. No, I'm sorry, that was an oversight on my part. I'll grab it from my files.
Okay, that's just a question, not a correction or anything.
Yeah.
I have a message from Mark Parker. He's having trouble opening his Zoom app. We'll keep trying. So let me reply quickly to him. All right, any corrections on this? I know on page 3 of 4, the second line down, says confirm that although the parcel may be accessed for another road, do we mean from another road?
Yes, I would agree.
Okay,
What was that? Did you say? It may be accessed, that was
From another
From.
road.
from another road instead of for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
just a clarification also on 9C. We had a notice of violation with Mr. Barlow. And do we need to take any further action since the items have been addressed to the satisfaction of the commission or the agency, I should say?
Well, about speaking, no, I don't think there's anything other than perhaps having John take a look at it in the future, unless we get another complaint, which would be earlier. But I don't think as long as the erosion and sediment controls were properly in place, and Norm Tybo was there to explain all the modifications that were made, and I thought we felt comfortable
I
that what he
agree.
had
Yes.
done.
Yes, we did. I just,
Norm did a good job of addressing all of the issues. Outstanding. Outstanding issues.
okay, so I just wanted to clarify that. It looks like on the last page, page 4, letter II, it looks like Dan submitted TACUIC membership before he left and did it online. So Diane and I had to work out the financing and approval for that because the bill came after Dan was there. That's just an update. I can talk about later more about how that came about. And the plan of conservation on J, they didn't have the meeting on July 2nd, but they had one last week on July 31st. That's just an update.
Um,
All right.
can we talk about that later in the meeting?
Yep. Yep.
Thanks.
And just, while I'm thinking of it, I just
Yep.
pointed that out.
I saw very little, I didn't see any changes that I would recommend.
Stuart, anything, or Kathleen? All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented with the correction.
Well, about speaking, I move to approve the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency minutes of July 7th, 2025, with one modification on the second line on down on page 3 of 4, changing the word for to from in front of the words another road.
Second, Stuart Peasley.
A motion by Marlon Butts, seconded by Stuart Peasley to approve the minutes of July 7th, 2025 as corrected. There any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Okay, moving on to pending application 06-25-34-1 Okay. 15 Butts Road, Bryant Salvage, jurisdictional ruling for drainage improvements to be filed. I believe Bryant was on here.
Yes, I
Yep,
am.
hello. I have a question for you that when they replaced, they did something to the pipe crossing the road, Harrisville Road. Did they replace the pipe or did they just level the top and pave it over again?
They replaced the pipe because it was a corrugated steel pipe. It
Okay,
was a 30-inch pipe originally, but it was all rotted at the bottom.
yep,
So
okay,
they replaced like for like.
okay. So I have another question. Are you comfortable with the 2-inch concrete caps on the two of the catch basins?
Yes, the design allows those caps to be either buried or accessible. And my intent is to leave them accessible so that if there is anything that were to build up in those catch basins, that they can be cleaned out easily. So yes,
Yep.
I'm satisfied with that 2-inch.
Okay, because I don't know if there's any danger of driving some big equipment over it.
Nope, the 2-inch concrete would actually be adequate anyway to drive over, but yes, that was a consideration.
Okay, those are my two biggest questions. Does anybody else have any questions or comments on this?
Marla Beth speaking, yes, I do. I had sent an email this morning, unfortunately. I went out in the field and looked at the site along with Mr. Savalas and John and 3 representatives from NRCS to discuss my concerns about the runoff coming down across the road, the fact that we didn't have any hydraulics. And it was explained to me that how they designed the system is they assumed that the pipe under the road that you were referring to that was changed recently, because they changed it in kind, they did their design based upon that cross culvert size. They didn't do a hydraulic study of the upper watershed. And we got a set, I asked him to file a set of the full plans, and that's what we have online available. And unfortunately, I didn't get to do a detailed review of it until this morning. And so that when I took a look at it, I came up with 3 questions. First question, and John, if you could screen share the plans that are posted, the 9 sheets that are posted. You go to the portion that deals with, I think it's the design. It's got 9 sheets. If you go to the plan view, sheet 2.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to figure out which one is the what one is the plan set?
That's the one that says CT01.
Okay.
And if you go to sheet 2, gosh, AI assistant, I really hate that coming up all the time. But okay.
Gotta get used to it.
Yeah, I know. So my question was, when you take a look at the outfall, I asked the question, I don't see any proposed grades at the outfall. You see there's a gorge that's there, but they don't show any proposed grades. So are they planning to fill the eroded gorge or not? I would assume they're proposing to fill the gorge, but
The
it doesn't
eroded
show.
go- the eroded
ahead.
gorge is uh in line with where the pipe is gonna be. It's staked out currently. It was staked out the other day as
Mhm.
far as where the pipe outlet is and each of the catch basins.
Mhm.
So that pipe is gonna run through that gorge and the gorge will be filled back in per the backfill requirements of NRCS. Uh,
Do you know
so
what the
mud-
slope will be of the resulting slope
uh,
just above the pipe? Is it a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1?
I don't know exactly. My intent is to get that field back to being a rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't desire to have, a 15% grade for a slope, because if there were some runoff, if this 100-year storm came and overcame the road and the water washed, the water's going to go back the same way that it was.
Yep. Yep.
I don't want an incredibly steep slope such that it would erode it. So I don't have an exact slope. That wasn't, part of the design.
Is
Wasn't
it,
deemed to be necessary.
is it your
Uh,
intention to regrade that and stabilize it in vegetation?
Yeah, yes, part of that outlet will be a rock lined plunge pool, and at that dispersion area, and as well as um a I don't remember the exact footage, but the entire area that was disturbed as part of the pipe project will be seeded down. So that would include that slope as it,
The gorge, it would
transitions to the
include the
pipe
gorge.
outlet.
So you're
But
basically be reshaping the gorge and stabilizing it.
I would be correct. The
Yeah.
gorge would be put back to the way it was,
Mhm.
and it would be resloped
Mhm.
to the outlet of the pipe such that it would be a smooth transition and it would all
Mhm.
be seeded down.
Okay.
Marla,
Then, yep.
I have a question. This 2% slope on the what we're looking at, does that not count? The 2%?
That's the slope of the pipe, not the slope of the
Ah,
land above
okay,
the pipe.
gotcha. And I
Okay.
do have one other question. If there's a lot of water coming off of Harrisville Road and it runs into this catch basin, and then it makes a right-hand turn down to the bottom catch basin, the next catch basin, and then makes a left-hand turn. Is there no other way that this could be done without putting those? I mean, having lived near a catch basin that overflowed a lot, it was really hard to keep stuff out of them. Now I'm kind of assuming, is the catch basin down where the pipe makes a left turn, is that going to be easily cleaned out? Is it going to be I guess I'm just not understanding what the point of the 90-degree turn is. Is there no other way to make like a smooth, like a curve or something? I apologize. I know that I'm not understanding all of this, but um
To sorry if I'm speaking out of turn here.
Go
no,
ahead.
I'm
Go ahead.
finished, Brian.
It was evaluated to like go diagonally with the pipe. However, to do that, um, based on the topography of the land, the pipe would have to be buried. It would basically be like a 16-foot deep trench
Whoa.
in order to put the pipe and pitch it correctly. So that was the reason for doing the 90-degree turns. Those catch basins were sized such that there would be minimal flow resistance. And the in that the catch basin coming from Harrisville Road, there will be a grate there that would prevent large objects from getting into the pipe. So there should not be large objects flowing through that pipe.
Okay, well, that answered my other question. Thank
So,
you.
My next question is, what is the sequence of construction and how long is the pipe installation expected to take?
I don't have an exact answer on the duration of the pipe installation, but the intent is to start at the outlet
Mhm,
and work my way to Harrisville Road
mhm,
as the so essentially like I'll start at the outlet, work towards catch basin 3, which
Mhm.
is that last 90-degree turn.
mhm,
NRCS has to inspect the installation of the pipe prior
Mhm.
to burial.
mhm.
So I'll get that in the pipe installed as well as the catch basin 3. And then once they have approved it, it will be covered over and then work on the next piping run.
Okay, so
I
the reason why I'm asking this question is how long it would take is because if in the process of installing the pipe and getting it inspected and getting it buried, a storm comes through, you don't show any erosion and sediment controls in the upland review area after the discharge location of the pipe. And you could have you could have runoff going overland, going through your trench, and then carrying a lot of turbidity to the wetlands through the upland review area. So one of the questions I had was, what were the temporary erosion and sediment controls that were planned to protect the wetlands from sedimentation during construction?
Yep.
You can't use the
So
silt fence because silt fences are rated to only 1 acre of contributing drainage area. The only control that I could think of would be what they call a check dam, a stone check dam. They've redone the guidelines for soil erosion and sediment control, and we were effective in 2024. And for this kind of contributing drainage area, that temporary control should have been done by an engineer, should have been designed by an engineer for the sizing of the stones. And it could be that the stones that are used in the temporary check dams could be used in the plunge pool. So you might have like a sequence of construction where you would construct a temporary temporary stone check dam, 1 or 2, to create a forebay to collect the heavy material. Because no matter what happens, you're not going to come out with clean water if a storm comes through this site during construction. But you want to collect the heaviest material so that it's not in the wetlands, burying the wetlands. Have you thought about that, about what you're going to do at the outfall during construction?
yes, so the per the drawings, I have to put a silt fence at the outlet.
That won't
For
work.
just
Okay, I'm sorry.
trying to explain.
Yeah, sorry.
So I have to install a silt fence there. For one, I can also, as part of the trenching, as I get a section done, I can install silt fence to prevent water from entering the ditch and divert it around the open hole. So like when I finish the outlet of, or finish the discharge piping run and start to work on the piping run that's parallel with Harrisville, I can install silt fence to prevent water from getting in the ditch during that time.
Yeah.
I will say, having, I just wanted to use that disclaimer. My concern with severe water being an issue during construction would only occur in the springtime, early spring, when we have, when the water becomes an issue. All the melting of snow and whatnot. That's the highest time of concern, so I have no intentions of doing any excavation work during that period. I have not seen a storm that causes thousands of gallons, gallons per hour of flow during the season. Not to say that that can't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm not concerned about even a heavy rainfall. That water has been historically absorbed into the ground, or there's a trickle of water that runs across the field, and it generally doesn't even make it to that washout.
Mhm. Okay, so you're saying the washout is more of a reflection of frozen ground conditions?
The
There's no infiltration.
runoff that we get from the spring, yes.
Yeah, during frozen ground conditions. Well, I'm, since this is an request for an agricultural exemption, for a use permitted as of right under agriculture, I don't see where the commission could deny it. I am really concerned about failures during storm events, where the sediment makes its way into the wetlands through the upland review area. But you do have 70-something feet, I think, before you get to the wetlands. But those
Correct.
wetlands weren't
And to be-
delineated. Those wetlands
be-
weren't delineated. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're talking. I'll let you finish.
I was going to say the wetlands weren't delineated by a soil scientist. It looks like what they used was the NRCS mapping, and we know that that's not very accurate. So I'm not sure exactly where the wetlands are, but we have taken the map that was on NRCS's plan. In the future, NRCS should have their soil scientists go and delineate the wetlands when they go and do these kinds of projects, because they probably know that their mapping is only done on a 2 to 3 acre scale and is not definitive enough for detailed plans like this. But this is an agricultural activity, and I'm also concerned that when it does overtop, if that gorge is there and not stabilized with something that allows for increased flows going over it, say your system fails, and it washes out your pipe near the gorge, which means you got to go in and repair it. And I suppose we can wait until that event happens, to then require the repairs to allow for higher velocities going over that land. I'm not convinced that there's not going to be a problem at this site, but I'm willing to vote for an approval as long as there's an understanding that there's a real risk here during the construction.
I have a question. This is
Oh,
Mark.
Mark, you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, it's Brian, right?
Yes.
So Brian, I'm sorry about the glitch here. Are some of the requirements, for example, the silt fencing that you mentioned, did NRCS make those recommendations, or is that part of, their plan?
That is part of the design package, yes.
Yes.
That was actually got to be quite interesting because they specified a 2x2 post for this oak or hardwood post, and nobody offers that. I actually had to get those custom made. So yes, they did specify the either silt fence or hay bales, but they did specify erosion control methods.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I know we may personally, I may personally have problems, which I don't. But if the silt fence requirement was okay with NRCS, then I would trust that they would, I would trust their judgment and input on that. So
Yes, as long as they're not putting it in front of the outfall of the pipe. It won't work at the front of the outfall of the pipe because the contributing drainage area is too big.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because a contributing drainage area is at least 100 acres. I
Yep.
think the application said 150, but I looked at stream stats, USGS's stream stats, and it did a delineation and came up with 102 acres of contributing drainage area
Oh,
to
okay.
the end of the pipe. So,
So the wetlands is to the east of the property. In that whole area is all gravel. So I would agree with you that that wetlands map probably needs to be updated.
mhm,
The vast majority of that water, with the exception of what has occurred over time, the vast majority of that water goes to the back of my property,
mhm,
which is not wetlands.
mhm,
So the silt fence would in fact be blocking it would be improving the situation right now, in the sense that the water would not be able to go towards the wetlands. It would all be diverted on my property, which uh, I didn't do the math, but I'm guessing it'd be somewhere around 700 feet at least before that water could reach the wetlands on the north end. Um, so like I said, the water will be staying out of the wetlands. And
mhm,
at the end of this project, that water won't even be will have no direction towards the wetlands. Once I put in that dispersion area, it's gonna remain on the backside of my property, which that flow is uh, something that I'm perfectly okay with, the way the water flows now.
mhm.
So this project will even in the end, there will be nothing I expect headed towards the wetlands, but it's all gravel in that area.
Yeah, the fact that it's gravel means you'll get a lot of infiltration. Hopefully, as long as you have it all buttoned up before winter
Yep,
freeze.
and I do agree with you, Marla, about uh, it would be foolish to try and start this project in, let's say the ground's not frozen in January,
Mhm,
and I decide that I want to work on it in January. It'd be foolish to do that because the water that's going to come, I know it's going to occur. So that is the
mhm.
most dangerous time. There is no intention to do any digging until that period is over. And I'm fully in line with making sure that that doesn't occur.
Do you plan to do that this construction season, or are you gonna wait till next year?
Uh, it'll likely wait until next year. If I do anything, it'll be working on the silt fence,
Mhm,
um, which would again still improve, uh, not letting the water go towards wetlands. The water would stay on my property,
mhm.
in the back there. So that would pretty much be it. It would just be
Mhm.
uh, prep work for doing it.
Well, my questions have been answered. Oh, so since you're gonna start next year, you're probably gonna be starting during low flow time? Your contract with the NRCS, your funding, uh,
Yep.
when is that anticipated to expire, though?
Oh, it expires May of 26.
Oh, so you don't have much
So
time, so you're gonna be during high groundwater
yep,
periods
nope,
in May.
nope. I am working with NRC. I will not do that. It would be, even if I wanted to do it, it would be a nightmare for me to deal with the water that is going
Yep,
to occur.
yep,
So I will not be doing any excavation in an attempt to meet a May of 26 deadline. I'm working with NRCS. I'm waiting for this pending application before they submit an extension request.
okay.
Yeah, I think an extension.
So
Yeah.
there will have to be a modification of the contract, and that's got to go to the state.
Mhm.
Um, so it,
Would it be of
the
any assistance to say, for us to give the approval and say that we recommend that the work be done during low flow period of time?
I appreciate that offer. I don't think it's necessary because NRCS is aware
Mm-hmm,
of that concern.
mm-hmm,
So as far as the field office, the engineers, they are fully on board with extending the deadline.
Okay. My questions are answered, Bill.
Okay, just for the record, Mark Parker has joined us and it was approximately 7:19 PM when I noticed that he was online with us. Does anybody else have any other questions for Mr. Stalvis? Or comments about this project?
I got one question, Bill, for you.
Yep.
Now, did you have a son that graduated or went to Woodstock schools?
Yep, I had three of them.
'Cause I went to school with a Rowinski. I graduated high
Yep.
school in 2004. And
Yep.
Matt seems
Well-
to ring a bell.
Yep, that's my oldest son. And my youngest son Pete was with Jason.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. So I would entertain a motion on this application for request for determination that this proposal is a permitted use as of right for agriculture or otherwise.
I always do the motions. Let somebody else do a motion once in a
You-
while.
You're too good at it. We-
That's
we
because I
always
do it
flub-
so often.
We always flub it.
All right, so I'll move to approve application 06-25-34, 15 Butts Road, maps 6397, block 62, lot 1, by Bryant Salves for jurisdictional ruling for use permitted as of right under agriculture to install drainage for field improvements.
See, I couldn't have done that. Thank you. I second that motion.
I don't
I can
think
do that.
anybody
Okay.
could have done that.
Okay, we have a motion from Mala Butt, seconded by Stuart Peasley to approve application 06-25-34, 15 Butts Road, Bryant Salvage, jurisdictional ruling for drainage improvements as a use permitted as of right for agriculture, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, does anybody have any further comments, questions?
Just for me, from a procedural standpoint, is there anything that I need to wait for from the commission? Like if I wanted to start installing that silt fence tomorrow? Is there anything I need to do procedurally to wait?
No,
No.
I don't think so. This is a decision that this is not their authority, so it doesn't need to be published or appealed.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Any abstentions? My vote was an aye. I didn't do it, but it looks like the vote is unanimous to approve this application. Thank you very much, Bryant and everyone. And we'll
Thank
be
you.
moving on to the, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, be moving on to the next one. Pending application 06-25-33, 0 Route 198, Roy DeRozier, proposed driveway crossings.
For beauty.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on this application?
Yes, Bill, I do. Today, I
Go ahead.
went out to try to take a look at the site, do a drive-by on Pole Bridge Road. And guess what? I came across a sign. I was coming off of Route 197, and just after Chamberlain Lake, Pole Bridge Road goes north. And I came to a sign that said that it was discontinued, and that it was not a town road anymore. I continued down the road until I couldn't go any farther, and I kept seeing signs, private property, this is not a town road, your your
Trespassing.
yeah, the locator on your phone is wrong. Turn around. So anyways, I ended up having to turn around after quite some time. But before I had tried going down that way, I went up Route 198 to try to find Pole Bridge Road on 198. And all I found was what appeared to be a driveway, no street sign, a driveway that had a sign that had two addresses for Pole Bridge Road, and it looked like a driveway. So after that, I went to town hall to try to find out what the status of Pole Bridge Road was. And initially, I tried looking up the DOT records, the records that the town sends to the Department of Transportation for getting for getting money back for doing maintenance work. And they did have Pole Bridge Road, but it was only a half a mile and didn't say what half or where the half was. So then I ended up trying to look at the deeds, and I looked to the deed to this property, and it didn't make any reference to Pole Bridge Road as being one of the property boundaries. And so then I ended up going to the town clerk's office and asked them if they had a map, if they had any information on discontinued roads. And apparently Pole Bridge Road, there's a map on file, a large map in a big plastic sheet, which I suggested they scan it, and I didn't have a chance to get it scanned, but this is what it looked like. And it identified, apparently back in the early 70s, there was a research done to find all the different discontinued roads, and accepted roads and open roads. And the number 2 item on that map, which was identified as Pole Bridge Road, said discontinue road leading west from Prentice Morris Place at a point about a half a mile west of his house. That was voted on October 4th, 1920. I do not know where Prentice Morris's house was, but I'm assuming that was probably the house that was at the corner of 197 and Pole Bridge Road. And then number 4 said discontinued so-called Pole Bridge Road leading west from Prentice Morris Place to a back road south of Milton Hammond Place, Cabbage Hill, voted on October 3rd, 1921. So the question then begins, is the property upon which this driveway is supposed to be built onto or gained access from, was that the discontinued portion of the road? And if it was, then the property would have reverted to the abutters and there may not be a right of way. And I see we have Daniel Blanchette here, who is online. He might be able to answer that question. Hi, Daniel.
Hi. Okay, yes. Good evening, everyone. For the record, I'm Dan Blanchette. I'm a licensed civil engineer and land surveyor. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, Roy DeRocher. I could get into my presentation, but really just to address the concern by Mrs. Butts, the part in front of our site is not a discontinued road. As you head further east, it is discontinued. That's correct. I don't have an exact length in front of me, but I'm confident we just did a Class A2 boundary survey, and at least up to our road, it's not been discontinued. There's houses under construction across the street. There's utility poles, and we could not find any evidence that it was discontinued for that portion.
So do you know where the Prentice Morris house was?
I don't, but I think you said heading west, correct?
Well, it says
And this site would be heading east
it
on
said
the road.
road leading west from Prentice Morris Place. So that would be leading west would be more likely north, not
Right.
west, but
Because
says
west is 197.
Yeah, we're coming east off 198, not west. I think you're talking about, maybe the other side of it.
Yeah. And it said it was only went for a half a mile and then it was discontinued after that. That's why I'm
Sounds
asking whether or not it's discontinued. And then there's a second note here about so-called Pole Bridge Road, road leading west from again, it's the same language almost, to a back road south of Milton Hammond Place, Cabbage Hill. And I don't know where Cabbage Hill is. And that was voted on in 1921.
Cabbage Hill is off of Rocky Hill Road.
So
Yeah,
if,
so that doesn't make any sense.
if I might,
Yep,
I've put up on the screen Pole Bridge Road.
yep,
This is Pole Bridge Road that comes up from Route 197.
yep.
My suspicion is, without a ton of understanding of it, is that this junction is probably the Prentice Morris place, and so there's heading westerly this way and
For a
heading
half a mile.
easterly this way, about a half a mile each way is probably the question, the area in question.
Wait a minute, going east, that's not Pole Bridge. There's not 3 Pole Bridge roads, are there? That intersection?
Yeah, I
No,
think
it's-
Fulbridge Road heads south from that.
Yes, but there's a right of way that extends this way as well.
What is that?
that goes to Ide Perrin Road.
It goes to Ide Perrin, but there's, there's road that extends in both directions from this junction point, and then it extends all the way south to 197 near Chamberlain Lake.
So
If you
I
look
could not,
further down,
go ahead.
there, it looks like the discontinuous spot. See,
Yeah, there's
a
actually
gap
a
there.
There's a,
There's a gap in
Yep.
the road on the map.
yep. Okay,
Yeah, you have to walk there.
Sign it.
There's no road.
But this is an existing right of way as far as the town is aware.
Yeah, that's active.
but it's not maintained by the town.
No,
That's a different question. Maintenance is different from
All right.
discontinuation.
How is it going to access his construction equipment to get to this site?
From Polebridge
It's gonna have to
Road.
come off of 198, right?
Well, he's going to come off
Yes.
198 and then down Polebridge Road.
Okay, so what's coming off of 198 looks like a driveway. It doesn't look like.
It's narrow. No, you're absolutely correct. It's pretty narrow.
So has he been in contact with the people who are abut that property, those properties? Where the road's gonna come through?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. The only map that was on file that I could find on the land records was a Lisa Beaupre. And had some kind of, it was a site development plan done by KWP showing a proposed daycare center. And that was gonna be north of the quote Pole Bridge Road off of Route 198. But they don't identify it as Pole Bridge Road, they identify it as a driveway. That's why I'm asking the question about whether or not that portion of Pole Bridge was discontinued or not.
Not to the best of my knowledge, no. It's a town road. It's not maintained, but it's a legal town-owned road.
And that's based upon your surveying opinion of research of the records.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Okay. That was the question I had.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments? So Marla, are you satisfied with the answers you have, or are you?
No, but I'll abstain from the vote. I'm not convinced that it's not been abandoned. I'm not convinced that it's a town road or a
Well-
town right of way or a town access way.
To be clear, it has been abandoned. Abandoned means lack of maintenance. Discontinuation is the legal mechanism.
Correct, and that's what I'm trying to find out, whether or not this portion was discontinued or not. I'm not convinced, but I'm not gonna say no to the application. I'll abstain because I don't feel comfortable about that.
What's the process to determine abandoned or discontinued?
Well, usually you have somebody do a title search and check the land records.
Yes.
And a lot of times the surveyor will do that. And that's why Daniel said in his opinion, but I don't know how detailed he did his review of the records.
Yeah.
A2 survey.
Yeah, we did. My office did a Class A2 boundary survey of this parcel.
Right. but that's not determining title. But like I said, I'm not gonna say no, because I think
Mm.
if it is in fact a town-owned piece of property, then there's no reason why he can't move forward, but I just don't feel comfortable about whether or not it's been discontinued or not.
Sounds
And I'm not a
reasonable.
surveyor and I'm not an expert on those kinds of things, and they can be problematic down the road.
It's
So,
just common sense. It's really sort of a logic that you have to apply in this case. Sorry to interrupt, but it just, I think it's a question mark that it's not on this. This isn't the only instance where those conditions are gray.
mhm.
If somebody made a motion, we could say that we're not making any judgment on whether the access to the property through Polbridge Road is legal or not.
I can make that motion.
If,
So this is for,
go ahead.
this is the new application.
No, this
Pending
is
application
pending.
06 062533 6B.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page. Marla, you better make it for me. See what happens. when
I'm
it's
not
got-
making the motion if I'm
Oh, you
abstaining.
can't. How
It,
come I'm on the meeting notes, but how come that's not on
it might not be on the agenda. It was omitted from an earlier agenda.
We amended the agenda at the beginning of the meeting, Stu.
there? Okay, all right, that's why that's
Yeah.
a mess. Sorry, give me a
You'll
second.
find it on last month's agenda,
Okay,
if you have a copy of that.
I'm on the website.
So would if I might, Mr. Chair, would the motion you're perhaps
Go ahead.
looking for would be an approval of application 06-25-33, 0 Route 198, map block 5709 to 6,
The three.
Roy DeRozier proposed driveway crossing. The motion would be to approve with the note that the Inland Wetlands and Water Courses Agency takes no position on whether legal access to the property can be obtained via Polbridge Road.
Okay.
That
yeah,
is
I have
correct.
it. Thank you, John. So you want me to restate that, or do we use that for our motion?
If you want to just say moved as staff stated.
Move that staff stated. Thank you, John. That's very good. And
Okay,
for
do we have a
0
second?
625 06-25-33 0 Route 198.
Second, Mark Parker.
Okay, we have a motion by Stuart Peasley, seconded by Mark Parker to approve application 06-25-33 as described by John Guskowski for Roy DeRozier's proposed driveway crossing, with the exception that we make no judgment as to the legality of access by Polbridge Road. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstained?
I abstain, Marla Butts.
Okay, we have 4 votes in favor and 1 abstention, so the motion passes.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you,
Good evening.
everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, I'm gonna move on to new applications. Application 07-25-01, 11 Dupree Road, John and Lindsay Hartling violation, piping of storm drainage water through wetland. Okay, yep, I have a few questions for you, Uh, how did they come up with the 18-inch pipe size?
So we had Jason from the highway department come out and meet with the contractor, Sean, and he determined
Yep.
that based off of the culvert pipe that's down there, that's what they decided would be acceptable. That's all I know that they,
Okay. Yep. Uh, so how is the water getting into the pipe at the top? Do you have any kind of head wall or some other way to collect the water to get into the pipe?
so at the corner of our property, they're gonna put in a basin. And that's gonna catch the water flow from there and run it into the pipe, and then it's gonna dump into the culvert that they dug out. Well, the culvert was already there, but they extended it, the town extended it. And it's gonna run into the town pipe.
When did the town,
Okay, that's it.
I have a question. When did the town extend the pipe?
They
Probably in early
it was
spring.
May 8th,
Okay.
yep.
And did, when the when the town director of public works was there, did he mention anything about any other approvals that might be required?
No,
He didn't say anything about check with the wetlands office to see if there's a wetlands permit needed?
no,
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. Was the first selectman there at the meeting with you?
yes,
Mm-hmm. And
Chandler,
he didn't tell you anything about perhaps checking to see if they needed any wetlands?
no,
Okay. What was I've driven by that property a number of times and it was lawn pretty much, but it was wet. It was wet lawn.
Yeah, like 3 months out of the year. Yeah.
it's that same like frozen ground and then the spring water.
Yeah,
Typically,
and
what?
And so when you bought the property, you didn't look at any maps at town hall,
No,
property maps? Okay. So you were unaware that there were delineated wetlands on that property?
correct.
Correct.
We moved in the fall and everything was dry.
Mm-hmm.
So we never had any concerns about flooding or anything in the property.
So why did you want to put the pipe in if you didn't have any problems with flooding?
And we had problems, but when we moved in, we didn't know that the yard flooded down there because it was fall. And then, obviously since then, every spring, the yard floods. And so that's when it's been a problem for years, but we decided now to take care of it. And it's expensive. I had the town come talk to me before because I had concerns that the work that they did over on Harrisville on Margaret Young's property, when they dug out and put an easement draining into it, we noticed an influx in water into our yard because of that. And that I think was in 20 or 21. Yeah.
But does Margaret Young's property drain to your property, or does it drain to another direction?
It drains into the valley that's actually on the neighbor's John, what's his last name? Right here.
I'm not sure it's the neighbor next to them though.
Yeah.
Their property. They own about 2 acres. It comes behind our property.
So do you find that there's overland flow from coming into your property from the
Yes.
Young's property?
Mhm.
And that's why you decided to put in an 18-inch because there was an 18-inch under the road, the town road?
We didn't decide to do that. That's what the highway department and the contractor agreed to. I don't know what conversation they had personally. They met when we weren't home.
What's your final disposition? Once you put this pipe in, what are your plans for that area? What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna fill it up farther?
We're just
Or-
gonna replant the grass. Once they backfill over the pipe, we're just gonna put grass down.
Okay. Do you notice when you were there, how long have you been at the house? A year?
2017.
Okay. So have you noticed whether the water backs up through the pipe from the little river into your property?
No,
it flows towards the little river.
no, it actually, when it hits the pipe,
No, no, when it hits the street, the culvert, right? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. I'm just,
Yeah, I mean, we used to, like a lot of times that bottom of our street would flood. So if the town didn't clean out that culvert, it would kind of be stagnant on our
Mhm.
property,
Yeah.
towards the end of our property near the culvert.
mhm.
so that corner that's pulled up on the screen, that's the culvert, right? Yeah, so they actually, a couple years ago, when I had the highway department come out the first time and ask them about it, I was told that the pipe they put in the culvert doesn't even go into the little river. It takes like a 90-degree turn and goes towards Putnam Water Supply, right? The treatment section there. The grate they had on top of the culvert there was continuously clogging. And so they'd come out, dig it out, clean it out, and then the road didn't flood after that. So it's something that continuously has to be maintained, or else leaves and stuff would flow into it and clog it, and then cause that corner of Peak Brook and our street to flood right there.
Okay, that's the little river across the road,
Yeah.
across from
Yeah,
Peak Brook Road, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I checked the FEMA maps and it's not in the 100-year floodplain. It's not listed as being in the 100-year floodplain. That was the concern of how you were gonna leave the lay of the land,
Mm.
whether or not you were gonna fill it up or were you gonna keep it at grade. So how much fill are you anticipating placing over the pipe?
He didn't give me the exact pitch of it, but he said that it would just be enough to level out over the pipe. So what he dug out now is, I have it listed here. I think it's a foot deep, and he said it'll probably be another foot of fill graded down over it. But
Okay.
the left side of the property, it's hard to tell on this, but it does come down from the Boudreaux's, and yeah, so that left side, it does come down like this. So we're not planning to fill up that whole property to make it level at all. It's just gonna be enough to cover the pipe.
So how are you going to set the inlet? What kind of inlet are you going to have? Is it what are they proposing at the inlet?
I have it's outside right now. I don't know what it's called. It looks like a giant black basin, plastic basin. It's probably not the right term for it, but
So it's more like a yard drain or a
let me see if I can. I'm sorry, and our contractor's in Maine right now with no service, so like I'm trying to um see. We could just go take a picture of it if that works. Do you want to go grab? We'll grab a picture of it because
well,
it's certain-
typically when an
Yeah.
application like this comes in, it's usually has a specific design that comes in for inlet and outlet, what the inverts are, how much fill's going to be on top, how much they're going to fill it up. There really isn't that kind of site plan with this application. It's just kind of like a line on the drawing of the record drawing that you had, that you got from the land records. So usually that's not what we usually get proposed grades. Sometimes if you're installing a pipe, you actually get an engineer to do the design work to figure out what the size is so that you know it's adequately sized, but you're basing it off the size that the town had, and the town told you that that was okay with them. So usually we get a little more detail on the design, you know, what the inlet's going to look like. Are you going to have a head wall? Or are you going to have like a catch basin? Or are you going to have, how are you going to pick up the water at the inlet end?
It looks like a catch basin is what's on our property now. That's not, I mean, it's not installed, but the material he had delivered along with all the piping. It's
Okay.
a big plastic catch basin.
Does it run in the spring since you've been there since 2017? Does it run in the spring with water?
Yeah, it's about like the end of March, depending on the thawing, till it doesn't fully dry out, and probably till like this year was early June,
Hmm.
because he didn't want to start until it's fully dry. So
Mm-hmm.
it's probably early to mid-June is when you could actually walk down there without, getting
Yeah.
all muddy.
Yeah. Well, your landscaper's from Rhode Island, and so he may know about Rhode Island wetlands laws, but they probably doesn't know a lot about Connecticut wetlands laws. And it sounds like you didn't know that you had wetlands on your property, and the town officials did not advise you to seek further advice on this, which they should have done. They should have directed you to the wetlands office so that you could have gotten better guidance on what to do and not to do.
Hmm.
And the fact that they extended the
And,
pipe. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bill.
and neither of them had the authority to grant you that right to do that work. It was the wetlands agency that has that authority. Go ahead, Marla.
So the fact that the town extended the pipe, that becomes more problematic for us because the town was supposed to come to the wetlands office and seek whatever approvals it needed to do pipe extensions. At that time, they would have been advised about the extent of wetlands and figured out, is the pipe underneath the road adequately sized to handle the flows that's there? If you're getting water backing up, maybe the pipe isn't just always clogged. Maybe it's just undersized to handle the amount of water that it's expected to handle. And usually that takes an engineer taking a look at it and saying, okay, yeah, no, the pipe's fine, or no, the pipe's too small. It's calculated to be too small. That's what we don't know about this site, because there's nobody that's actually done that for this drainage area. Do you know how big the drainage area is to your property?
The length of it?
No, the drainage area is that area that, how many acres drains to where the inlet to your pipe is gonna be, that comes from other properties. You probably don't know that, and probably your landscaper didn't know that because
You can
he's probably
never,
just working off the size of the pipe on the road, which we don't know if that's adequately sized to handle the flows.
it's tough because unless it's like a torrential downpour in that time of year, you never get a steady stream. It's just wet. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It's not
Yep.
like, oh, we can walk through the woods and we see this
Yep.
nice stream. So it's hard to really,
Yeah,
really
I've never
tell.
seen actual stream flow going through
Yeah,
your property. It's always looked like it's just wet.
exactly. Yeah. It wasn't until actually right when he started, we got that torrential storm, probably like 3 or 4 inches in one day.
Mhm.
And what he had dug, just that trench with the crushed stone already in it, it actually like contained it. And you could see it just flowed only in that trench. That was probably the first time we've ever seen it actually come out of the stone wall, the
Mhm.
property line, and actually stay in one area.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it never overflowed, even with all that rain, it never even flowed the trench.
And for the record, I think I asked Jason to check that specifically after that rainstorm. He said he didn't notice anything silting up the basin on the side of the road.
Yeah, the last time the town came out and cleaned up the culvert, it's been the best it's ever been since we lived here. They added, big rocks, they never did that before. They kind of would just come scoop it out and that was it. But the way they did it now, it's really nice.
But it's only been a couple of months that it's been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, exactly.
Mm.
But we didn't have any rocks or anything down before. It was just
Mm.
the earth, so it was just eroding away.
They must have done it at the same time they did the Harris Road culvert replacement, because it sounded like that was in May also.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the riprap is fairly large there too.
In one of the attachments to this particular application, it's when I clicked on it and opened, it's called Image 3605. I guess in 2011, the Bodros had a 4-inch wide by 1-inch deep trench dug and filled with 6-inch stone. So are you guys putting in the pipe in that current existing crushed stone trench.
That's,
Uh,
that's their plan. That's
Yeah.
not the Boudreaux, that's not the Boudreaux's, that's their plan.
Well, again, I'm looking at image 3605, and when I look over at the right-hand side, it was in February 14th, 2011. Norman and Yvette Boudreaux, they owned both of those properties there.
they did.
Yeah,
They used to own this
So
land.
they put it,
Yeah.
they put in a 4 foot wide by 1 inch deep, 1 foot deep trench filled with 6 inch crushed stone. So
Where are
that's
you getting that, where are you getting that
okay.
image?
No,
Okay,
I
that's-
can't find it on the,
That's,
when you
I'll
click-
put it up. I'll put it up on screen.
Okay.
This was up earlier. This is,
Oh,
the-
okay.
that's a now or formerly Boudreaux. The markup was done by the applicants or their representative. The map underneath is the delineated wetlands map. So you can see the delineated wetlands map across the property here, the Heartlings property, showing the location of the trench. But these notes in highlight were not Boudreaux notes. These are Heartling notes.
Correct.
Oh,
so Mark, there was never any trench there
oh,
before.
all right. See, I didn't realize that was added. Okay. I thought that, okay, got it.
So this is the record drawing on the land records for this lot that had wetlands delineated on it.
Mhm.
Got
I'm
it.
assuming it's when the land was subdivided. They, I'm not sure why this particular map had, because I don't see another subdivision, drawing for any abutting lot, but
No, it's just labeled as property survey.
yeah,
So they had a survey done and filed it.
yeah.
So the plan is to dig a 4 foot wide by 1 foot deep trench, fill it with crushed 6 inches of crushed stone, and then put the pipe lay on top of it.
correct.
Yep. The contractor said the inlet and outlet of pipe will be flared ends terminating in riprap stone. The fill will be clean gravel to cover the pipe and then loam and hydro seed.
So to take it out of wetlands jurisdiction, it would have to be, the wetlands would have to be filled by more than 2 feet of fill. Otherwise, it would still class as wetlands if it had less than 2 feet of fill on it. So it might not take it out of jurisdiction by putting the pipe in. So the pipe is,
And the
So you got
proposal
the-
is for an 18-inch pipe, right?
right.
Yeah.
So they'll be burying it almost up to 2 feet because they're gonna have to bury the pipe, but the trench has already been put in a foot down. And then they've got 6 inches of stone, so it's elevated 6 inches off of, so it'll be, yeah, it'll probably, if they have just a foot of fill over the pipe, it still probably won't take it out of jurisdiction as wetland soils.
Okay.
Well, given what you've said to me, about this, I think I'm okay with it. I'm a little concerned that Public Works Director didn't that they extended the pipe in an area that was most likely delineated wetlands, even though it's not showing on this drawing, it most likely was on the town's property. And then didn't advise you to come to the wetlands office to check out what kinds of approvals that you might need. And that's problematic, but since it might not be taken out of jurisdiction and you've got all the materials there, you've got all the alterations already done. I don't know how the other commissioners feel. How do you feel about it?
Well, I think it'll make the site better, and they're going to be replacing. Right now, there's seed but it's very wet.
Yeah.
But, now it'll just be restored to a lawn area, but it'll
Yep.
just be a little higher and it won't get as wet.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Okay. So did we have this as a use permitted as of right, or did we have this as an actual permit application?
This was, I thought it was going to be a regular application. I'd be happy to have this considered as of right. I'm not sure what category it would be.
Well, they had to file something because they
Right.
received an NOV. So
All right, so So it could be covered. The fact, if they're not gonna place more than 2 feet of soil over the original wetland soils, it's not gonna take it out of jurisdiction. And it will still remain in law. It was not much of a functional wetland as far as from wildlife standpoint. It was lawn before, it'll be
Correct.
lawn again. They'll just be able to use it a little better. I think it could qualify as maintenance and enjoyment of a residential home for work in wetlands.
Yeah, with previous owners, it might have been more of an obvious wetland, but it might have been gradually cleared and seeded over the years that nobody noticed or nobody complained about. And then the only other thing is that typically something like this, we would want the engineering of the, how much water is gonna flow down so that the 18-inch pipe, that we would know that that would be enough flow. At this point, we have the open trench and something should be done anyways.
You understand that if it's not adequately sized and it washes out, you're gonna end up having to pay to repair it. And if you have to repair it, you're gonna have to come back to the Wetlands Commission if you want to replace the pipe with a larger pipe. If it, if you find that it's not adequately sized. So it's not gonna take it out of
That-
jurisdiction. See what I'm
And
saying?
at that point, you'll have to do the engineering work also.
I had a,
Yeah.
I have a question on that part. So for an engineer to come out, that would be something that we would pay for, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
Even now, seeing what the town has for the covert pipe, it would still fall on us to pay for.
Yeah, because the town may have to hire an engineer if they find that your pipe fails, and that means their pipe's gonna fail. If your pipe is failing because they're same size, that means they would have to replace their pipe with a larger pipe, and they'd have to come in and get a permit to do that, and have to have engineering for that. So that would be on their head. That's the danger of not having it analyzed by an engineer ahead of time.
So somebody had a topo map up a little. Could somebody put up a topo map? I think the drainage area is really small here.
It's
So-
less than 100 acres. It's probably, my guess is probably 30 acres.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. If he puts on the
That much-
the
that would-
topography
There we go.
and enlarge it, because it's gonna go across the road. It's gonna go across from the golf course. I think it may, no, I don't know if it picks up anything
No.
from the golf course. Yeah, see, there's a cross culvert there. That's why there was a drainage easement for the Young property.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, the condos across the street from them and the golf course that was more runoff for them. I talked with her before, trying to figure out where the water was coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, looking at it, I'm gonna guesstimate it, and this is just a real gross guesstimate, is about 50 acres. But I don't know what the storm drainage system is doing, when it picks up. Because sometimes the storm drain system will pick up, like on Harrisville Road. It might not discharge everything to there. Some of it may go down the road. It may intercept some of that and head down the road. But that's what an engineer would do. Would take a look at what the contributing drainage area is. It's not just that blue that you see on the screen. That's just the NRCS wetland soils that they've identified.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that those delineations are grossly inadequate.
Mm.
And so it's the actual character of the land that determines whether it's subject to regulation or not.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, we understand if something were to fail. I mean, living here for how long we have now, I think the pipe is probably oversized and can plenty handle it. Just seeing the water flow through our yard,
Mm-hmm.
and I would imagine if for some reason it did fail, I mean, it would just go back over our yard again.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
It would wash out your yard.
yeah. So I think having seen that rainstorm the other day, it brought us a lot of comfort because we knew we really weren't going to see how this pipe work probably until next spring, when we saw all the water again. So it brought us comfort seeing the water stay in that trench, before even the pipe was there. it, didn't even fill up the trench enough to overflow into our yard, and it poured right into the culvert, nothing, even the culvert never like puddled up where
Mhm.
the street couldn't handle it. So it brought us comfort, but with the amount of rain too, it was a lot in a short period of time.
Well, Bill, I think the fact that there wasn't any, um, since the area was pretty well maintained as lawn, its functional values under wetlands were probably limited. There may be some flood storage value, not really clear in my mind whether the
Yeah.
FEMA maps are gonna change or not. But, since it would still remain in jurisdiction as long as it's not filled, if we authorize it to be not, that the wetland soils are not filled more than 2 feet, that it could classify as maintenance and enjoyment of a residential home with the understanding that any failure of the pipe would require any repairs to come back to the Wetlands Commission for re-review.
Agreed.
Stu, how do
Okay,
you
if somebody
feel?
would like to make a motion,
I'm in line with just doing this thing properly so that we identify the parameters correctly. I feel like that was kind of a misstep with the highway department.
And
But
if I might, Mr. Chair.
go ahead.
So just for the record, John Guskowski, Wetlands Agent. I did speak after this construction came to light and spoke both with Jason and First Selectman Paquette. First Selectman Paquette, this is my representation of his. It said, he did not state that the applicants were all set and did not need any additional permitting. But this is where we are. But I've spoken with
Yeah.
both of them. They're aware of the need to come to wetlands.
Okay, and for the record, there was an email forwarded from the First Selectman Paquette that acknowledged the approval of connecting to the town drainage system under Peak Brook Road. I don't know that we have these records tonight, but it did come by.
All right, I'm gonna move to approve
Okay.
application 07-25-01, 11 Dupree Road, map 6397, block 62, lot 4B, by Sean and Lindsay Harding, to be processed as a use permitted as of right under maintenance and enjoyment of a residential home, with the understanding that filling of the wetlands will not exceed 2 feet, and any subsequent failure of the system will be brought back to the Wetlands Agency for subsequent review and approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Marla Butts, seconded by Mark Parker. Leanne, are you able to pick up all that wording? I did. So, assuming that Leanne will be for that, it was the approval for maintenance enjoyment of property, providing there's no more than 2 feet of fill over the wetlands, and that any failure will require a return to the Wetlands Agency for further approvals. That's kind of a nutshell of what Marla's motion was. Does anybody have any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Anyone abstain? No, the motion passes.
The Hartlings have one more question. I saw Mr. Hartling was gonna.
Just
Yeah.
wondering what we need to do next, I guess, as far as do we need to fill out any more paperwork? Or
I'll issue you a letter and we'll note the approval. And well, actually, this is no approval required, right?
No, that there's a approval for a use permitted as of right.
Oh, permitted as right, yeah. So I will send you a letter and we will post the decision in the paper.
You won't need to, it's a use permitted as of right, none required. But they can't get their fee back. The town
Okay.
keeps that.
All right,
Hmm.
so you'll have a letter for your records then.
Okay,
Great.
all right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for helping out with this and being reasonable with us. We appreciate it.
Tell your contractor the next time he does work in Woodstock, make sure he checks with the wetlands office that he doesn't need any approvals.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
remember his name.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Yep. Good night.
Hey,
All right, moving on to new application that we added tonight, 7B. Application 07-25-04, 4 Little Horn Lane, Marilyn and Bob Rath, stabilizing wall and adding/improving grade access to the water. And the applicants are on a Zoom.
We are,
Is
and we're
anybody,
unmuted.
Yeah.
Good evening.
is now you, good evening. This is Bill Rowinski. You mentioned removing 12 feet of wall, but you also talk about rebuilding 12 lineal feet of wall.
And we can.
Is that rebuilding in front of the beach or on the side of the beach or?
So the wall goes right along the shoreline. And
Yep,
we want to have we have right near our property line is great access to the beach, great access to the water. So we're making an adjustment to the wall so that we can have that great access to the water.
okay, so you just, that means you're moving the wall back?
We're moving the wall as to the extent the grade allows us to get into the water. So
Okay,
the current amount of wall that we're moving is 12 lineal feet. We're not sure that we're going to end up with 12 lineal feet when we make the adjustment so that we have great access to the water. On our property boundary that you can see, there's a letter C there.
Yep.
And I'm just using that for reference. That's our property boundary. That is grade entrance to the water. Right?
Okay.
Right into the water. And so we on our side of that property line, the wall is in the way for that grade access. So we want to adjust the wall so we have the grade access into the water.
okay, so that lot that says beach area and dock area,
Yeah,
that is owned
Lake
by
Bungie
or,
Association. Yep.
okay, is there actually a beach area there?
It is sandy in that area that says beach area. That is actually sandy.
Okay,
There isn't it's not a named public beach, but there's a bench there for residents to sit on. They want.
yep,
So, Bill, it would be helpful if since this is an actual individual permit that's come in, and I have
Yep.
no understanding of the site. I think, and since they should probably only be doing this work when the lake is drawn down, which is in the fall, starts in the fall,
Right.
that
yep,
we just accept the application at this time and ask the applicants to take some photographs of the area, showing the wall that they want to remove and where the sand is going to be placed and present that at the next meeting so that we can decide
Yep.
whether or not there's any additional information. Because a lot of times when we have walls, retaining walls, that are next to the water, we look at the actual design of the wall. Does it have free drainage behind it? What, do you have a cross section of the wall, how you want to build it? I have no idea what the existing wall looks like, and the photographs will really help a lot. And if you're going to reconstruct the new wall or the relocated wall the same way the current one is, they'll give us an idea as to what level of detail we might need. Sometimes if they're concrete walls or they're concrete or there's, you know, block walls that are installed, they don't have enough free drainage behind them and they tend to start to fail, or they don't have enough footing, a good enough footing down below. And because you're right on the water's edge, you know, we get a little more particular about that because that's somebody else's property. That's the Lake Association's property. And so we try to make sure that whatever's going on the lake's edge is going to stand. It's going to withstand the forces that it has to get. And that's why we need more detail from you.
Okay, we'll take some pictures. It's just it's a fieldstone wall. Did want to let you know that local mason Jens Brayton is going to be working on it for us. So I
He should be
will.
able to give you a diagram or like a cross section of it.
I don't know if he can draw a cross section or not. I just know
Okay.
he's a good mason.
Okay.
So, but what we can do is take pictures and try and give you a description that will suit your needs.
Yeah, I believe you also said adding mortar. So that kind of changes the nature of the wall.
Well, yeah, some mortar. We want some mortar on the top of the wall so that it's more stable to work on, to walk on. Right now, the top of the wall is not stable because it's just stacked fieldstone.
Yep, I understand.
And to the commissioner's statement about timing, you're exactly right. The lake comes down the 15th of October. So in talking with John, I knew that we needed to get something to you quickly because this was just a little over a week ago. So I'm glad that we have at least another meeting so that we can get geared up for the when the lake drops, because it drops quickly and we want to get the work done as much as we can before any ice sets in.
Yeah.
So, Bill, I'll move to
Oh,
accept.
wait. Okay. I did have a question about, I'm sorry. The map that you guys did provide, I'm looking at it here. And that whole section that says stone retaining wall, that it currently extends up into, you know, just over the property line, huh? Right?
No,
No? Oh,
no.
does it extend to the property line?
Yes.
And you drew in a darker line below it, so you're going to take out what's north, what's above that, and then you're going to build it. You're actually going to turn the wall inward up into your property, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
The wall is
yeah.
going to turn inward into our property.
Right. And then you'll just have everything kind of sloping gently grade down to the sand that you want to put in.
Correct, and it'll match the
Right.
grade of our
Right.
adjacent property owner.
Right. Okay, great. All right. Yep.
Can I go now, Mark?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Thanks. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I move to accept application 07-25-24 for Little Horn Lane by Bob and Marilyn Rath for consideration at next month's meeting, with the request that the Raths submit photographs and additional details regarding the proposed work.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have motion by Marla Butt, seconded by Stuart Peasley to accept application 05-24 25-044 Little Horn Lane, Bob and Marilyn Rath, for stabilizing the wall and adding and improving grade access to the water, with the request that for our next September wetlands meeting, with the request that pictures and additional detail be provided. Does anybody have any further comments or questions?
I'll just make a
All those in
comment
favor
about,
say,
sorry, I could just, inject something here. When we talk about section details, you can just get a standard offline on the internet, you know, and just use it as a reference to point to, because we'll be asking for what its relationship is to the water, distances, dimensions. Those kind of things are just important to help us help you.
Okay,
If you
thank
can
you.
gather that up, that would be helpful.
Yes. Thank you.
Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
One last question, since,
Well, we're not done yet. We're
Oh.
not done yet. All those opposed? Anybody abstain? So I only heard 3 ayes. Is that correct?
I heard 4.
That is enough for,
I said
that's
aye.
enough.
I said
I
aye.
made the motion. Stu said aye.
Okay, I didn't hear Stuart. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
And Mark
Kathleen?
said
I said
also.
I, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You said
Ari
aye.
said aye.
Okay.
you're good.
Okay, so the motion passes unanimously then.
Aye,
Okay,
aye,
thank
Captain.
you.
thank you. I apologize for being a little fast. Since I believe your meetings are on Monday, but the first Monday is Labor Day, I assume you won't be meeting that day.
Correct.
So the
Be the
first,
following.
so you'll be meeting
following
Monday, the
Monday.
8th of September?
Yes.
And
Yes.
when, what should be my deadline for getting it? And I assume, John, I should do this in a PDF?
Yeah, a PDF or JPEG images are fine if you're sending images.
Okay,
I ideally at least a week before,
okay.
but you know, as soon as you can get them, we'll post them.
Try for a week before. Okay.
Don't try because town hall's closed on Fridays. So the agenda must be posted on by Thursday, the day, and so, and you got the holiday, the week of that week. So the earlier, the better. Saves John the time because he'll be jammed.
You want to aim for August 25th to 28th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, good night.
All right. Yeah, good night. At this point, I'm gonna break and jump back on something that I left out, and that's with citizens' comments. Does anybody who is here who doesn't have anything before the agency have any comments at this point? Related to nothing that is on the agenda tonight? And not hearing anything, we'll move on to administrative business. John, you want to talk about proposed approval?
Sure. So we have application 07-2502 on Indian Spring Road. Let me share my video quickly to give you a sense of the property in question. Okay, so can you see this? This is Indian Spring Road. It's right on Bungie Lake. Sort of a
Okay, there you go.
trapezoidal piece of property, wider along the road, narrower along the lake. The lake is in blue as its wetlands. Just to
John?
orient you, it's a small lot.
John, it's on Witch's Wood. It's not on an.
Oh, I'm sorry, Witch's
Okay.
Woods. Thank you. And now I would just like to, I'll bring up the application form, which is a sketch by the applicant or their engineer. This was the sketch that was used to get the septic replacement permit from the health district. So this is basically the replacement of this septic tank, 1,000 gallons, to be removed in kind and in place. So one 1,000 gallon tank will be emptied and crushed, and a new 1,000 gallon tank will be going in its place. The work is obviously within the upland review area, but it is minimal in maintenance in nature, my proposal would be that the commission concur that this is an administrative review and approval.
So when you say administrative review and approval, are you looking at it under maintenance and enjoyment of residential home, or are you looking at it as a wetlands agent approval?
Well, because I hadn't really thought about it honestly as a maintenance of and its enjoyment of home, but it is precisely maintenance. It is the removal of an existing tank and replacing it with a new tank in exactly the same place. I think that's maintenance.
Okay, so they've filed their fee already?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what it says there. All right, so when they file applications like this for future reference, sometimes they can be maintenance and enjoyment of residential home, but they have to wait to the next meeting to do that. But then the cost is a lot less because we're not processing a legal notice on it. But if they want to get something quicker, sometimes they can, once you feel comfortable with issuing these things and we feel comfortable with you issuing these things could be issued automatically.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I think at least in the early going, I am sort of erring on the side of
you should
presenting
no, that's
the
fine.
full.
That's
Yeah.
fine. So we have an application number for this. This is 07-25-02.
Correct.
Yeah, this should have been come in under new applications, but that's okay. I'm gonna move for application 07-25-02 Indian Spring Road, map 5787, block 34, lot 127W by Robert Houlihan. To install replacement 1,000 gallon underground septic tank in the upland review area be processed as a wetlands agent approval.
Second.
Okay, we have motion by Marla Butt, seconded by Mark Parker to process application 07-25-02 Indian Spring Road for Robert Houlihan, install replacement 1,000 gallon underground septic tank in the upland review area be processed as a wetlands agent approval. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously.
Bill, I have a question
Yes,
I have a question for John. John, did you say that they would crush the tank in place?
I believe that's. I think I read that way.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with
Yes.
any of it.
I think that's generally how they do it.
Okay. Wow. I guess that makes more
maybe the
sense than
replacement
trying to
tank.
lift it out. Pardon?
Maybe the replacement tank has a different footprint or different height. So
Yeah,
Well, I suppose
right
if they
here,
crush it-
right
crush
here
it
under,
down.
what page? Page 3, description. The existing tank will be crushed and filled in according to state code.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes more sense than trying to lift it out and take it somewhere.
I'm assuming they're required to clean it out before they crush it.
it says that somewhere too.
Yes.
It says it somewhere. Yeah. That's part of the proposal. Okay, so we voted on that and we're good to go on that.
This pricing,
Um,
the price includes pumping the tank prior to collapsing it. Yes, it's.
Yeah.
They're good.
Probably.
Okay, John, the next one on Rawson Road, do you have any comments on that?
Yes, thank you. So I'm going to just bring up the screenshot here. And as this is coming up, I'd like to note that I do have the wetlands layer on.
Could you
can
put the
see-
topography on,
I sure
please?
can. So this is 54 Rawson Road. The applicants are interested in, so there's a lot of topography there. The applicants are interested in building a small pond, I believe 20 by 24, 20 by 25. And you'll note that the closest wetlands, at least delineated as far as we can tell, is several hundred feet away. to the west. So zooming in, you can see, and that's, yeah, there's a 15, almost 16 acre parcel in between. The pond is to be here roughly in the center of the property, but basically just for general enjoyment of the property. There's no wetlands on site. There's no wetlands in the area. And you know, once the digging happens and fills with water, then this will become a wetlands, but it is not a wetlands right now. So my thought was that this was either no approval required or agent approval.
Question, John, what causes you to make the statement that there are no wetlands there? Just because it doesn't show on the map?
And yeah, I looked at this isn't the only map I looked at, but yeah,
All right.
I'm not aware of any
So-
wetlands there.
Yeah, so we typically we only use that map, that's the soils map for guideline purposes only.
Mhm.
That it's the actual character of the land that determines whether it's subject to jurisdiction.
Sure.
So judging by the topography there, they have a low area, but there's no indication from what I'm seeing on the trees that there's a wet spot based on the tonal changes of the air photo. So I would tend to agree with you that the likelihood that there could be wetlands there is probably little, but they need to be careful about how they put the embankment for that. It doesn't look like any failure of an embankment would cause a threat to life or property. So I'm not sure how whether they just dig a hole in the ground, or are they going to dig a hole and then side cast the spoils on the downslope side to create a berm to hold the water in the pond. But if there had been a road downslope from this or a house downslope from this, we'd probably have to see more details to make sure that they weren't creating a hazard. But it doesn't look like, based upon the air photo and the topography, that there's anything downslope from them.
I agree.
What's the water source?
Groundwater.
This groundwater?
It would have to be groundwater. NRCS years ago used to recommend embankment ponds, like for agricultural purposes, for feeding livestock and stuff. And what the requirement was, they were put on the side of a hill and they would dig a hole in the ground. And when they dug the hole, they would side cast the spoils on the downslope side so that water would get impounded behind the embankment. And their requirement was, for every acre foot of water you attempted to store, you needed at least 2 acres of contributing drainage area. And that was all they had. But they actually used to have designs for those.
Could you say that again? For every acre of?
For every acre foot of water that you
Okay.
wanted to store, you needed 2 acres of contributing drainage area.
For every, so acre foot, meaning
Acre
the
foot.
volume of the water.
Right, for volume.
Okay.
So if it was like a 4 foot deep and a 1/4 acre in size, that may be close to an acre foot of water, which meant you need to have at least 2 acres of contributing drainage area on a slope. You know, so, but I don't think they make those anymore. I don't know whether
Okay.
there still are some old ones out there, but because they usually had to have some kind of emergency spillway, overflow that could overtop, but they were holes in the ground and they just held water for cattle or whatever.
John, before you go off, could you zoom in on that that little blue spot? Is that where did you put that in?
No, that looks like a vehicle. That's a
Oh,
tarp, I
Oh,
bet.
that isn't where the pond. Okay,
No,
No.
that's a tarp. Yeah.
Where's the pond gonna go?
It's sort of it's south of the house in the sort of the center of the property.
Okay.
They provided a little bit of a map, but
Yeah,
they did
it's
it
hard
over
to see.
top
I was looking at it.
over
It was
top
all
of
white.
a photo that doesn't actually seem to be there.
Okay.
But
yeah.
based on where they identified the house and the septic system and the garage and the driveway, it's south of there, sort of to the center of the property.
Got it. Okay.
So they're actually looking for a jurisdictional ruling that no approval or permit is required. So
yeah,
that's what they be given. He'd have to send them correspondence to say, based upon your request, no approval or permit is required from the agency.
Right.
Because there's no evidence that there's any wetlands, or based upon the topography, based upon the aerial photography. That's not saying that there couldn't be a wet spot there, but it's functionally it's not showing
not
up.
characterized as such, yeah. That's all I have.
So I'll move, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna say this. I'll move to, recommend that the wetlands agent notify Matthew Fontaine that the construction of a 20 by 25-foot pond in his yard, as shown in application 07-25-03 at 54 Rawson Road, map 5705, block 13, lot 2D, is not a regulated activity by the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency.
Just one question. On that note, it's because it's outside of the URA?
We have no jurisdiction.
Okay,
We have no jurisdiction.
all right. A second,
There's no brook going in, there's no brook going out.
no
Okay, we have a
existing,
motion
yeah.
by Marla Butts and,
John, to notify,
excuse me, something,
do you need me to
say that
repeat it?
again.
Do you want me to repeat it?
Leanne says no.
Sure.
No, she says no.
Leanne's okay? All right. So is there any further discussion on this motion on application 02-25-0354 Rawson Road for Matthew Fontaine, construction of new 20 by 25-foot pond in the yard
Eh.
outside of the upland review area?
And it was seconded by by Stuart Peasley.
Do.
Motion by Marla Butt, second by Stuart Peasley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I
Opposed? Opposed? Abstain? Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
would like to ask a question. Why did they come for a permit if, I mean, is it just, I don't understand. I mean, they didn't just go out and dig the hole, and were they just being good citizens, or?
They're being cautious citizens,
Okay, that
and I appreciate that they came and asked first.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we had a
You
lot
should
of
always ask,
it tonight, so.
yeah. You should ask first, even if it's likely that you don't need it, because there might be something that we see or know about that
Yep.
could change the requirements.
It is better to ask for permission than forgiveness.
Well, it depends, I guess.
Contrary to the popular, yeah.
Contrary to the popular opinion, yes.
All right, John, would you like to continue with the agent report?
Sure. So everyone hopefully has a copy of the agent report. Basically everything I've been involved with for wetlands this month has been covered by this meeting, with the
Yep.
exception of the note that I met with Ken Beausoleil and some others at the Putnam Fish and Game property on Stonebridge Road, where they have a small sort of trout pond that is stocked. That's not sort of big enough, and it's a little too, water's warming up there, but it's not keeping fish well. So they're hoping to dredge, expand and deepen a little bit. But they don't have formal plans yet. They don't know exactly the dimensions that they're going to be proposing, but are going to be in touch when all those details of the proposal come forward. So stay tuned.
And I will add that this particular pond has no outlet. So whatever water they're going to be bringing in from the brook, it kind of stays in there and then eventually seeps into the ground.
Mhm.
Because it's very sandy, gravelly area that it's in. So
The only question I would have, or that you should make sure they identify, is where they're gonna place the spoils.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
long as they're not,
we talked about that a little bit. They have sort of a meadow that they're thinking of sort of just sort of spreading, but yeah, those will be part of their proposal.
and make sure that it's not in a FEMA designated floodplain. where they want to spread the spoils.
Okay.
I think that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions. Well, I'm reluctant to answer any questions because I'm still getting my feet wet here, but you know, I'm happy to try.
So,
Any
the one comment I would
correspondence?
make to John, any applications that are gonna come as wetlands agent approvals, put them in either under new applications, or if they've been before us, if you're not comfortable in addressing them yourself, is put them in the list with new applications,
Yep. Okay.
or pending if if they were already on a prior one. Because that way we get to have the plans posted up along with all the other applications. And anytime anybody wants to come in for a jurisdictional ruling, do I need a permit? Make them use that form that uses for uses permitted as of right, non-regulated uses, because we can always say, no, it's not our jurisdiction, instead of an actual form application, full application form.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But more to be said about the application forms later.
Do we have any correspondence that anybody knows about? Don't believe I saw any. All
No,
right, moving on to finance. Go ahead, John.
No, I was to say we received no additional correspondence.
Okay, and the financial report. I did sign for some ads. Stonebridge Press, the bill came through in July. So they probably don't appear on this report. They were for things that we did in June, I believe. Well, maybe not. I'd have to go back and see. Anyways, that's all we need to discuss with that at the moment. So we have draft application forms.
So I'm gonna recommend that we table them again because they weren't posted online. We had them up before, unless somebody's ready to talk about them. Is
Okay,
anybody ready
just let
to?
me. They were there, but the basic shell that I see you doing is that
I
there's
believe they
one
are there,
form for,
Marla. Sorry,
Yeah.
I think they're there, Marla.
I
Yeah.
pulled up the one that was under the
Draft
four.
is it draft IW forms with instructions?
Yeah. So I pulled up on the Woodstock Wetlands site, Inland Wetlands Agency, the 8/4/25 meeting. That's the one I called up. And then, oh, it's farther down. You didn't put a link in the body of the agenda. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
So to just to basically describe, we could table it, but Marla has one basic information form, and then there's, I believe, like 5 specific forms to each type of application that it might be required. So basic information goes on the basic form, and then the specific information goes on whichever of the 5 or 6, I forget how many. There's still a separate one for timber harvest. I don't remember all, what was agent approval, et
there's
cetera, et cetera.
jurisdictional ruling. For those are for uses permitted as a right, non-regulated use. And also decisions whether or not they need a permit or not, like the one we just had just moments ago. And then there's the wetlands agent approval, permit for an individual lot, and permit for a subdivision. And I would suggest, John, that you take a look at those and see what, based upon your experience with other towns and stuff, what recommendations you might make. This comes patterned after Thompson's, which I drafted for them. Margaret Washburn, who is the wetlands agent in Thompson, can give you some feedback because she's been using forms like this. These were just modified just to fit Woodstock's name and zoning regs. So Margaret might be able to give you some feedback, and you could give us some input.
Okay.
I have a suggestion, John, maybe. Sorry, did I step out of line?
No.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking, we recently did our application form over in ZBA, and we took a close look at FAQs. And I think people kind of go straight to them and find them useful for trying to navigate. Might be something we want to draft up.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. But first, we got to get the forms the way we think they should look and contain the
Okay.
information we need to have them contain.
Yeah, the other comment I have, Marla, is whether you don't have fees mentioned at section 4, number 4.
Yeah, you got to go to the
incomplete
form.
Applications.
You got to go to the form to
Okay.
see that. So if you want
Okay.
the form for a wetlands agent approvals, go to supplemental form C, and supplemental
Yep.
form C will tell you what the fee is. You see it there on the second page. Residential use,
Okay.
$95, commercial use, 160, other use, 160.
Yep.
That's for,
I just didn't know if you're going to present this process, I don't know if you wanted to mention the appropriate fees.
well, that ultimately the fees are going to have to be changed because we're losing money on the fees. But in order to change the
Yeah.
fees, we have to change the regs. So these are the fees that
Yep.
are associated with the current regs. But what I could do is in the instruction section, add a section about fees, under instructions for wetlands.
Yep. That would be helpful.
Yeah, I could do that. That'll make it into a 2-page document instead of a 1-page.
All right. Do we have a motion to table this further?
I make
I
a
move to
motion
ta-
that we table the review of the forms that we were just discussing, which I can't remember the names of all. But we're gonna look at them at a future date.
Yay,
Second the
Karen.
motion.
I second it.
Oh, you caught me too quick. All right.
Okay, we have a motion from Kathleen Barrett and second by Mark Parker to table the draft review of the draft wetlands application forms. All in favor signify by saying aye.
All right,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Okay, MOU, Memorandum of Understanding.
Boy, do I think we need this more than anything.
Yep,
But I'm getting to the point where I think I almost want to have it signed off on by the Public Works Director to say that he understands. Because he's seen this it had to be back in May. And then we've had two issues where pipes have been replaced. They were in the one up
one was
on,
in column.
yeah, one was in kind, one was an extension according to the applicants. So I'm wondering whether or not there should be some kind of added language for when people come for advice from the Public Works Department regarding installation of culverts or placement of fill next to town-owned property, that they advise them to seek an opinion from the wetlands agency or the wetlands office, whether or not that should be included in the MOU.
good point. I
Well,
think so. I agree.
at least have something that say approval of wetlands or wetland application might be necessary, and you must check with the wetlands agent.
Well, I
Let me
think the
try.
word, maybe the word should be coordination.
Well, that's what this is
No, I
supposed to
wouldn't
do.
do
Yeah,
that, but you don't really want coordination. It's that would have the jurisdiction as far as that goes.
So let me try to draft up something to put in there to kind of hit that problem and address that
Yep.
problem.
Yep.
And then I'll bring it back next
Okay,
meeting.
do we need any further act?
No, I'll draft it and send it off to
Yep.
John for posting for the next meeting. Because I would like to get this going
So we
since,
probably don't need any further action this evening.
no. I'll read,
Okay.
I'll add some extra language in it.
Okay, next, I mean, that's getting close to it. It'd be nice to cross it off, so, if anybody else has any comments, please review that and, we'll see if we can start wrapping that up. Recommended changes to zoning regulations. Has anybody else reviewed that besides me?
Sorry, I have not. I apologize. It's just been very, very crazy.
Hey, John, do you know if the Planning and Zoning Commission's gonna amend their zoning regulations in the near distant future?
My suspicion would be that's probably a mid-future situation where we're, as you know, in the process of writing the plan of conservation and development.
Okay.
And my suspicion is they would probably want to hold off on making any changes to zoning regulations until they've established new goals and policies in the plan, and flow from there. So I would guess probably at least a year before they take that up.
Ooh.
So we could put this off, or we can put it off to next meeting, and if we can get to a point where we all agree whether or not we can recommend those changes, we can send that recommendation in at any time.
Mhm.
So that the next time they
Yep.
do their revisions, they
Yep.
can decide whether they want to take that up or not. But I really would like to have something in writing from the agency to the Planning and Zoning Commission without too much more time going by.
Well, I'm fine with them the way they are. Um, you know, their editing would be the final version anyway, so.
Sure, sure. It's just us requesting they make those changes. So Stu, you need
Yeah.
more time to look at them?
Yeah, I will
That's no
get it done
problem.
next, I'll get it done.
Okay,
It's on my mind. It's just
Okay.
I never get to it. I
that's okay.
apologize.
They're pretty simple. They're
Okay.
pretty simple.
Yeah.
Mark, are you okay with them?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Are those excuse me, are those posted somewhere? Did I miss?
They're on the
On the
attachments.
meeting page.
If you go to the
Yeah.
agenda on the website
Yep,
under the
Up under
tonight's
the-
meeting.
Drop your cursor all the way to the bottom and there's an attachment section.
yep, I got that, but I didn't see anything about,
Towards the
Maybe
It's
bottom.
recommended changes to
Recommended,
zoning
yeah.
regs. Third item down.
I must have,
Third,
this is the old, this is the former, wait a minute.
no, you want August 4th.
Yep, August 4th, but I'm not sure if this is the
You got to go to the
official-
website.
You got to go to the website. and
Oh, it's not
access-
okay, it's not listed
gotta
here.
go to the
I'll
website.
find it. I
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
as long as you're telling me where to look, I'll
Go to
I'll
the
find it.
agenda on the website and there's an attachment section and it's the title is recommended changes to zoning regs of 10/21/23 corrected. So
Okay.
yeah, when you find it.
I don't see that fish talking very much, Mark.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All
we'll
right,
go
how's
further
this?
on that.
That's better.
So John, I wasn't at the meeting last Thursday. Were you part of that?
I was. Yeah, so we're kind of reestablishing, I've obviously, I've in addition to wetlands, I've taken over zoning enforcement and planning work for the town. So I'm sort of inheriting the efforts that Delia had been undertaking to do the plan. We sort of agreed, the information that Delia had compiled is voluminous, but not necessarily all that well directed or necessarily organized into something that resembles a plan. So we're going to start a little bit, take a couple of steps backwards, come up with a consensus sort of vision and set of broad goals for the community, and then take a bunch of the data and bones that Delia had constructed and kind of reassemble them into a plan form. So yeah, first things first, we're going to agree on a vision, which is to me an important first step in planning. So that's what we're working on right now, and we'll go from there. But I you know, there's a lot of good information to work from.
So-
When we first discussed this with wetlands, we talked about adding a section about guiding principles similar to the state POCD, but having resilience and sustainability be more simply defined. than they are in the state POCD.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's something you would take a look at.
Yeah, yeah, that's, whether that's part of the vision or one of the sort of broad principles that we're looking for. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And the other thing that I want to say, sorry, Marla,
That's okay.
I've looked at Madison and I believe Old Saybrook, the ones that your firm did for
Mm.
those. And they appear to be very action oriented. There's some similarities but differences. They are customized and like I say, the thrust that I basically got was they were action oriented.
As
One of
That's
the
all I have.
issues,
I'm sorry, Bill, as a good thing or as it's
That's a good thing,
okay.
because that's kind of the whole purpose of the plan of conservation development is saying, we want to go here and this is how we're going to do it.
so one of the things that came up recently, Kathy and I met and I was explaining things to her. And one of the questions she had was about plan of conservation and development. We got talking about open space. You know, we know that our open space map that we had in there is probably deficient, but in researching it further after Kathy and I had met, I came to realize that the current plan of conservation and development had a proposal for open space to go to 10 acres, a minimum of 10 acres of undeveloped land, or if you had developed land, it would be 10 acres, not including the minimum lot size, which is generally 2.5 acres in Woodstock. So apparently there was under the statute, it's required in order to have open space provisions in your town. Not only does it have to be in the plan of conservation and development, the requirements for it, but also has to be passed at a town meeting, has to be the legislative body has to approve it. So in doing further research, and I have talked to Chandler about this a little bit, the recommendation in the 2015 copy was not passed by a town meeting. It failed 12-13. That's how many people voted on the open space. So it reverted back. It stays with what was there in 2000 and I want to say 2005. And that is a 2-acre, which is smaller than a
Oh,
residential house lot, minimum lot size in town. So that's too small. Because why would you have somebody who has an undeveloped piece of land that's got 2 acres, it's not even a buildable lot, go into open space? So there's some issues here that are going to come up regarding, and in that same section on open space, it talks about reevaluating wetlands as being one component that you can reevaluate for open space. So the Inland Wetlands Act does allow for changing property values based upon if you might be denied a permit. You can have your property reassessed. And the question is, how does that get applied? It may actually be arguably through the Open Space Act. I'm not sure on this yet. It's the first time I saw that the open space provision talked about that the town of Woodstock has talked about including wetlands as part of, lands that could be included. So we'll stay tuned. I'm still doing a little research on that, trying to figure out.
The one thing I'd note, Marla, is that if someone has a 2-acre parcel, that is a buildable lot because it's probably pre-existing non-conforming.
Non-conforming, yeah. But so the question is why should they be getting a tax
No.
break if it's a,
No,
if it's
they
a
shouldn't.
buildable lot?
No, they absolutely shouldn't.
So they're going to end up having to change something, but what is the value? Now, the town of Thompson had this problem where they never went to a town meeting. They had the provisions in their plan of conservation development. And so all the applications that were made for open space had to get redone after the town actually changed its plan of conservation and development and then went to town meeting. And how they did it is they did it by ordinance. They have an open space ordinance for the 490 Act. And so they've basically set it in stone. The way Woodstock did it was just at a town meeting, notes as a whereas, we do this, we do that. It wasn't an ordinance. So one of the suggestions I may be making down the road is that it be established as an ordinance, so it's very clear to everybody, you know, what the current ordinances which are kept by the town clerk, as opposed to being buried somewhere in the minutes of a town meeting. So, stay tuned.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
We shouldn't bury things
that are critical like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on then. Thank you, Marla. I'd like to hear from Leanne right now. If you have any questions or comments for us.
Hi, as of right now, no, but I may. You guys got a lot of information, that's for sure. But I'll, who should I reach out to if I have any questions? I mean, I can read and listen to everything again, but
If John is unavailable and you have a question of terminology, you can always contact me.
okay,
'Cause
thank you.
I'm supposedly as the secretary of the commission, my only duties are to set in for the chair and vice chair when they're not there. But I typically try to make sure that the agendas and the minutes accurately reflect ahead of time. So if I try to make sure I check for errors, I don't find them all, but I try to identify those ahead of time. So if you have any questions on terminology, I'd be happy to answer those if John's not available.
Perfect, thank you.
Leanne, do
So
you?
Leanne,
Oop, nope, sorry.
Yep.
I was just gonna
So
ask
Leanne-
Leanne. Oh, has she left? Oh, no,
I'm
there you
here.
No,
go.
she's still.
no,
I'm
no,
here.
no,
Okay,
Uh,
I just I wondered, do you have some sort of standards that you're supposed to adhere to when you're setting up the minutes of the meeting or?
Not that I've been told by Crystal. I was just gonna kind of follow as you guys have been
Yeah.
doing the minutes. I'm tape recording this as well as it's being recorded via Zoom. And both should be, the Zoom will be posted. I'm not sure what Crystal does with the recording, but she said to do both.
Post them on YouTube probably tomorrow.
Yeah, so I don't know if I understood your question correctly, but I was just gonna follow unless you have a suggestion for me doing minutes differently.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. I'm, there's so many different ways that people say you should do them, but I didn't know if Crystal had given you some,
Nope.
like keep them short or put everything in but the kitchen sink or.
Well, every commission kind of has their own way of doing things. I have found so I whatever you guys think. Do you like details or do you like the basics? I don't want to put in more than you think is necessary and vice versa.
So I have found that if you can get, and typically Woodstock Crystal can provide you with a copy of the Zoom recording. In the Zoom recording, you can actually move forward and backward much easier than you can in YouTube, unless you have an actual YouTube application that allows you to download the stuff. I like to see the motions in bolded. Only because my eye goes to that real quick.
Yeah,
I know Dottie Durst a lot of times would use script, like a script. I find that difficult to read and
I bold those for sure.
Yeah, and Dottie would use usually at least two types of fonts. And I find that the script fonts are not as easy to read. A font with a sans serif, meaning no foots on it, those to me are easy to read. They're more like a block print. Just repeating pretty much what's in the agenda as far as what the information is, and then the details. If there's something truly missing or misspelled, we'll try to take it as a modification when we approve it. When we approve the minutes.
Yeah, it sounds like we're kind of thinking along the same lines, so
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Leanne, what is your actual role in connection with the WPCA? I know you're their clerk or whatever.
I'm their,
Could you describe?
yeah, I'm their, yeah, I'm basically their office person. I'm the executive assistant is my title. And I'm there 5 hours
Okay.
a week as needed, but we're having a busy time right now, so it's been more time than that. We had all those manholes fixed finally on 169,
Yeah.
which was,
So is that just,
Yeah.
is that just for Woodstock? Is that
yes,
just for
it's
Woodstock?
for Woodstock WPC, yeah.
Okay.
Are they working on a sewer service area? Because that was a question that was raised during our review of the plan of conservation and development.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Are they working on a new sewer service area map? Well, the maps that we found.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Stu Morse is on your committee. He's from the WPCA as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just got a new GIS mapping and it's not going to be uploaded till October. But yes,
Okay.
we just had a big evaluation of the sewer system done, and we're yeah. So
Because what
we'll have new
Ty
mapping.
Bond did, what was filed by Ty Bond was just the lines. It wasn't really the service area.
Right.
And we really wanted to see where we have, public sanitary sewers. We have an idea where all the public water supplies are. There's a lot more than what you realize. And there's almost the entire town is public watershed, almost. Only two small sub basins, I think, are not included. It's either Southbridge or Willimantic or Putnam.
Mm.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. All right.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It is very interesting. Yeah, so I'm also doing the minutes for ZBA. I heard somebody on here is on ZBA as well. Yeah, so it's me too.
Good.
Yeah.
Uh,
So,
Welcome
We
aboard.
we don't meet every month, so.
yeah, I did inland wetlands and Board of Finance a million years ago, probably, oh my gosh, 2007, 2008, and then I went back to school and I was inundated with all that kind of stuff. So it was a good way to learn about the town. I moved here when I was in 2004. So those two areas were really good ways to kind of learn how things tick a little
So-
bit.
Tina LaJoy was after you then.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I reported to her kind of in the wetlands.
Mhm.
But yeah, so
Just-
that's me.
As far as guidelines and guidances for, taking minutes of meetings, it's really not a whole lot, but in the Freedom of Information Act, it requires that every public agency, keep, make records of their meetings, et cetera. And under Connecticut General Statutes, Section 1, 210A and 225, there's just some general things that, the recorded minutes have to be taken and printed up and submitted to the town clerk or whatever. So, there's just some, so if you go to Freedom of Information Act kind of information, then you get a little bit of protocol of, that just general that minutes should be recorded, then they should be printed up and submitted to the town clerk. So,
Yes.
yeah.
All righty.
Okay, John, do you have any further comments or questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn unless anybody else has any other items to discuss.
I can do that one. I make a motion to adjourn.
I
Yeah.
second the motion.
Okay, we have motion by Kathleen Barracks, seconded by Malik Bucks to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye, the vote is unanimous. Thank you very much,
Adios.
everyone. And
Time